Well, so I don't know if Jeannie Buss created this or someone in media created this. They're ranking the 50 greatest Laker players. And on everything from the bottom tier to the upper tier, it's I can co-sign to it, but it's just the the first two tiers, tier 2 and tier 1. They got LeBron James in tier 2 after winning one championship. One championship. Uno. A one, a two, a three. One championship. And he's already on the second tier. All right. Also who is on that second tier is Shaquille O'Neal. And he is not too pleased about it. He's on the second tier. Okay. But this is what happens when you have a microwave type of society, particularly on social media, when you want to grandfather people in and say that this individual is better than that individual. Somehow, some way, LeBron James is all of a sudden better than Michael Jordan. Even though Michael Jordan has 6 championships, LeBron James only has 4. He's been to like 10 finals, won 4. Do the math on that. Now, everybody want to tell you about his accolades, his individual stats, and things of that nature. He's going to surpass Michael Jordan in a lot of individual stats. But the stats that really mean the most, okay, is championships, MVP finals, finals MVP. Hell, offensive and defensive player of the year. Which, by the way, Michael Jordan has more defensive player of the year than LeBron James, and has more offensive player of the year than one LeBron James. But that's neither here nor there. You guys, you guys look at other things. But that's what happens when you have all of these announcers just instant gratification, instant mashed potato type of society. When you have people like Shaquille O'Neal banging on the table talking about LeBron has already done surpassed Michael Jordan. When you got all these Richard Jefferson who's saying that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. At one time, Scottie Pippen was saying LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. And that's when he was begging for a job at the worldwide leader of sports. And then once he got that job, he sort of changed his tune. Yeah, right. But this is what happens when you placate to the masses. And that's what Shaquille O'Neal has been doing. Now, he's a little grouchy. He's a little moody. Because he's on the second tier. And by the way, Shaquille O'Neal as a Laker won 3 championships. I had to Google it. I had to fact check myself. What? They won 3 championships? Oh, wow. Jesus. What the hell I was on the third one. But anywho, he's upset. He's cranky. He's the old man in the porch. You young folks, get off my yard. Get off my yard. Who, by the way, he also promised he would never be that player. But now he's all of a sudden that player, that old guy. And it's just rubbed him the wrong way for LeBron James to be on tier 2 with Shaquille O'Neal. First of all, Shaquille O'Neal is not going to be nowhere near in the top 3. In my top 3, and I believe in this particular top 3, in no particular order, it's going to be Magic Johnson, Kobe Bean Bryant, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Okay, they're going to be on the top 3. You can change those names around. However, there's no one else that you can put or plateau that's going to dethrone any of those 3 guys. I know a lot of people are going to say, well, what about the logo, Jerry West? Shouldn't he be up there? about Michael Cooper? Should he be up there? It's going to be those three guys. It's going to be those three guys for a long period of time. LeBron's not going to sniff another title. Now, LeBron James, I can sort of co-sign to Shaquille O'Neal saying that LeBron James shouldn't be on the second tier. I can agree with that. But since we're all in agreement, Shaquille, you don't need to be on the second tier. Huh? What? Shaquille O'Neal not on the top in the second tier? Look, Shaquille O'Neal was the most unstoppable, dominant player in his Orlando Magic years, in his Laker years. The only thing that could stop Shaquille O'Neal was Shaquille O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal, if he would have dedicated himself more in the weight room, if he could have dedicated himself more in the basketball court and developed other weapons in his stable, he would have been a dominant player for a long period of time. But Shaquille O'Neal had other interests. He wanted to be a rapper. He was an okay rapper. He had like one hit. What's up, Doc? Can we rock? What's up, Doc? I can't believe I can remember that song. He was in a couple of straight-to-DVD movies. Movies like Shazam. He was in that, wasn't he? Okay. Oh, Steel. He played Steel. And he also did other things, like he was a great businessman. But when you have all of those interests at your disposal, you don't have time to work on the things that are I think that could have elevated him in the second tier and possibly in the running for the top tier. If Shaquille O'Neal would have played his cards right, instead of trying to prove that he's right, prove that, and he had an issue with Kobe Bean Bryant. The ownership loved Kobe Bean Bryant. He was the future. He was their future. If Shaquille could have just rode along with that, even and if those two guys could, settle their differences to the side, they could have possibly won that championship with the Detroit Pistons. The Detroit Pistons dethroned them because Shaquille O'Neal didn't like Kobe, and likewise. And that destroyed the chemistry and the making of the team. Not to mention it wasn't the very best team. Okay, they did have Karl Malone in his latter years, and they did have Gary Payton in his latter years. They were just hanging on for Old Glory, hoping that the Shaquille and Kobe can give them a title, to give them a ring on their, from their final exit from the NBA. But if he would have played his cards right, and if he would have dedicated himself more in the weight room, more on the practice court, develop more weapons at his disposal, be a little bit more efficient on the free throw line, he would have been dominant for a long period of time, and just go ahead and adjust to the future. Welcome the future. You're not the top dog no more. You don't get to dictate what you want to do. But ego and jealousy tore that dynamic up. Tore what could have been. These guys could have won 5 or 6 straight NBA titles with Phil Jackson. Think about that, folks. They would have probably won more championships, or they'd probably been a championship away of either tying the Chicago Bulls or just being one title away from tying the Chicago Bulls with 6. That's how dominant these two guys were. But they couldn't see eye to eye, and they went their separate ways. Kobe he stayed with the Lakers, won 2 more championships to Shaquille's 1 with Miami. Then after Miami, he kicked it around with the Phoenix Suns, and he kicked it around with the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he kicked it around with the Boston Celtics, and the rest, they say, is history. Now he's an analyst for Inside the NBA over there at the good folks over there at TNT, and now the only battles he have is battling with Charles Barkley on who's going to get the last donut, pretty much. Okay, and he's great as an analyst on TNT, but he would have been a much dominant player if he would have just focused more time and energy on the basketball court than on the movie set or in the recording studio. And you're gonna hear, and I know a lot of people are gonna say this. I'm gonna say it before you guys, type it in the comments section. Well, he could have, he could, focus on other things. He didn't have to necessarily just focus on basketball. But yes, if you want to be the best, you have to focus on the craft that pays you the most, okay? Shaquille O'Neal wasn't a top billing actor. He wasn't the top billing rapper, okay? Shaquille O'Neal, where his bread was buttered, was on a basketball court. And he just didn't want to put a lot of time perfecting his craft. And that's his decision. There was a story where Kobe was trying to get Shaquille to lose weight and get in the training room. And Shaquille didn't want to do that. Why? Because Shaquille said, look, I'm bigger than everybody. Why do I need to go into the gym? As a fat slob, or as a fat snail, I can still I can still get a double-double. But what could have been if he could have just dedicated himself more time in the gym, he would have been up there to where we have to really say to ourselves, okay, is he the best basketball player? Is he in the top 3 as overall basketball players in NBA history? But Shaquille O'Neal wasn't feeling that, and he didn't care about that. He cared about other things besides basketball. And there's nothing wrong with that. But be careful what you wish for. What you made your bed, now lie in it. You cared about other things, and everyone was cool with it. I was cool with it. But then don't whine and cry. Don't whine and cry 20 years later, when ridiculous stuff like this comes popping out and then you strongly disagree. But this is what happens when you babysit and you put the pacifier in this generation, when you put the battery in the back of this generation, when everything is a microwave society and you want to hurry and speed things up saying who's better than who. It's no disrespect to say LeBron James is the second best player if you compare him to Michael Jordan. Or maybe the third best player if you compare him to Michael Jordan, Kobe being Bryant. Okay? There's no disrespect there. But in this society, you guys he's either number one or you tripping. He's number one or you just an old head. He's number one or you're delusional. And that's what happens when you got all of these analysts proclaiming LeBron James as the best thing since sliced bread. This is the type of stuff that you regurgitate. You regurgitate crap like this. And now you don't like that list. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for, Shaquille O'Neal. But hey, my opinion, I don't think LeBron James should have been on second team. He only won one championship with the Lakers. Haven't been with the Lakers that long. Okay? And there's a possibility that this team is by the graces of God, by the basketball gods, the only way this team is going to get into the playoffs is because of the play-in tournament. Ain't that a blimp? If there was no such thing as a play-in tournament, they wouldn't even qualify to be in the playoffs. It's sad. Or if they do qualify, they'll be like the 8th seed. It's sad, man. It's just sad. But that's what happens when you make the world easy for everybody. When you give everybody an anticipated, when you give everybody an award, you don't let nobody earn the reward. When everybody gets a reward, and you pat little Johnny on the head and say, everything's fine, it's okay, buddy, it's okay. Here's an award, here's a prize, here's a lollipop. You tried, you played, you deserve a reward too. This is the world that you guys created. So enjoy. Just lay in your bed, bud. This is what you've been speaking about. This is what you want. Now you got it and you still not happy. I'm up out of here. I'll talk to you guys later. Deuces.